Welcome to Hudson Valley Unleashed, the podcast that pulls the curtain back on one of America's best kept hidden gems and the surprising people that live here, New York's Hudson Valley. Listen each week as John, Josh, and Dave have a fun chat with national and local luminaries that will make you beg the question, what don't I know about the Hudson Valley yet? I'm Dave Leonard, former program director of WDST and co-founder of WKZE and host of Radio Unleashed. With me is chef owner Josh Kroner, culinary creative force behind the Hudson Valley's Terrapin restaurant, and comic writer, pop culture expert, and owner of the only black-owned comic book store in New York State, John Michelle. Running the show behind the scenes is Jacob Hutchings, producing the show, keeping us on point, making sure that we all have fun and sound great. Our podcast is supported by...
Need reliable plumbing or heating services? TC Plumbing and Heating has you covered. We handle residential and commercial projects of all sizes, from leaky faucets to full system installs. We're fully licensed and insurers, offering free estimates and fast, dependable service you can trust. Call or text 914-388-2863 today. TC Plumbing and Heating. Your comfort, our commitment.
I just want to say, boys, this is good to be back. I know there's a lot of us have been traveling, and some haven't been. John. And
I've been traveling from school to home, to school to home, to
3.2 miles every day. Back
to store and home and school. It's fun.
It's good being back.
Do you have an electric vehicle?
I do not.
Dave, you've had some epic travels.
It's been most of my travel has been within the States. You've been out of the States, but yeah, I've been definitely road tripping. And I'm
last year was Thailand for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You went to the White Lotus?
I tried to be an extra in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was because they filmed it on Samui. So I've been watching, but I'm not up. I'm not up to the final show yet.
Oh,
but
just
the
you
episode.
wait.
Right.
How long did you spend in Bangkok?
I spent a month there one weekend.
I spent a month there 1 month.
Yeah. Yeah, Bangkok was overwhelming. I mean, it was New York City on steroids. And with Vegas mixed in, it was
24/7.
Oh yeah, it's nuts.
You have a secondary like shop that sets up in front of the shop when the first shop closes. Just constant people.
Cool.
Jesus.
Lady boy.
Just you wait until you get to the Bangkok episode. Oof.
Okay, it's funny. Well, that was last year, and so I know I've seen some places, not people, but seeing some of the locations where they were filming, which is kind of cool. But then this past year, dude, we've been traveling cross country. It's been awesome.
Nice.
It's good to be in the seat with you guys here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane how much driving that you're doing.
And it's funny. I see people. I'm like, I need more time alone. But I've been introduced to. I keep saying books on tape, but it's Audible. It's like it's changed my world. I'm like, I want to get 50 books a year. I'm like, how'd you do last year? 8. Now with some Audible, it's like, I can mow the yard and I could have a book. I could run and I could use it. I'm driving the car. I'm like, I mean, before it was a lot of rock and roll. And for a while when I was on the air every day and even when just doing the show, part of the job, of course, is like prepping for a meal. It's like, is just listening to all this music and deciding what 10 songs or bands you like. And while I still do that, somehow I'm just using the books more, and the same thing, podcasts and shows.
Yeah,
and
listen to that at 2-point speed. And
1.75. 1.75 is pretty good.
Today's guest is one of those rare people in the music world who's done just about everything and somehow made it all sound great. Pete Caigan is a sound engineer, drummer, producer, artist, and audio design consultant based here in the Hudson Valley. Basically, if it makes noise, Pete knows how to make it sing. He recorded the double platinum album Afterglow for Sarah McLachlan, the Billboard #1 reggae album Livin Free by Roots of Creation. He's also mixed records with Simone Felice, produced bands like Tyburn Saints and Bari Koral, and has played drums for more artists than we have time to name. Pete's toured both as a drummer and a front-of-house mixer, hitting the road with talents like Marco Benevento, Amy Helm, and Rachel Yamagata. When he's not behind a kit or mixing desk, he's designing sound systems, recording studios for venues and musicians across the region. With over 25 years in the business, Pete's career has been built on curiosity, craft, and a serious ear for what works. He's the kind of guy who doesn't need the spotlight, but the spotlight sounds a hell of a lot better when he's around. He's even mixed one of my Dave stocks, yes. And I have the pleasure of calling him my friend Pete. Please welcome the quietly legendary, endlessly creative Pete Caigan.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Welcome.
I'm happy to be on Hudson Valley.
Yeah, it's funny, Pete. You're our guest, but we're your guests.
Yeah.
That's right. We're hanging out here at Utopia Studios, my studio in Bearsville, which is in Woodstock, New York.
Yeah, used to be my home.
It used to be WDST, the legendary radio station, which Dave was instrumental in forming.
It was Radio Woodstock when we weren't a part of DST. It was like we're going to do worldwide internet stuff while the radio station was like down the road. But the radio station made money and we didn't. So I was like, which one was the redheaded stepchild?
So you guys came here first while the WDST was still down the road.
DST was there. I was putting music in. Actually, in the house in town, my Sud Hill house, that's where because we were building here. So I had like 7 guys. We had computers set up and we were putting songs into the computers. And we're like, we can curse, so put the fuck version and this and that in there. And at one point when we went to funk, the DST merged with Woodstock. For the first year, they're like playing songs and like fucking Leonard put on the curse version that went over the airwaves and we got to get rid of it. But yeah, I got the studio was up there. I got to build all those studios, which now you have just turned into this beautiful piece of art.
Dude, this place is fucking
It's
sick.
sick, man.
Amazing.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's been great to transform the place.
It's got a hell of a history, too. I know, obviously, you could probably tell it better than me.
Sure, I could give you the synopsis. It was started in 1979 for Todd Rundgren, the legendary music producer and video producer, by Albert Grossman, who was also a legendary music figure. He was the manager for Janis Joplin, Dylan, Jimi Hendrix. So they built it for Todd, and it got finished in 1980. Todd used it as his video studio for about 4 years. And I heard all this from him because he came to visit last fall, and I got the scoop.
Nice.
So Todd was here for about 4 years, and then he moved his scene up to his house, which is also in Woodstock, in Mink Hollow, and there was a record called The Hermit of Mink Hollow, which is famous, that was made up there.
When did he get rid of it?
He left in 84, and then this was part of Bearsville Studios, which is a big commercial recording studio that had 4 rooms. That's made hundreds of platinum records, literally. Bearsville Studios is a historic studio, so this was part of the studio from 1984 until you guys moved in, which was when, like 2000. We did a lot of live broadcasts from this room. Bands would come in who were on the road, and they would do a live on the air, and there'd be a small audience of really super fans, I guess, people who support the radio station.
Was there a tiny desk involved?
No, we were ahead of that.
Yeah.
It was a large desk.
It was a very large desk concert.
That went on until, I don't know, 2020, and then the radio station moved out, and then the room was quiet for a couple of years. New ownership, they renovated everything, they fixed up the whole property. And then I needed a studio in the summer of 2022, and I rented one of the small rooms up there, and I was mixing a record, which just came out, Satchel Vasandani. Best Life Now. It's out now. Great jazz singer from New York. So I came in, I did that, and I was looking, nothing was going on in this beautiful room. And I was sitting in that little glass booth looking for months. So I figured out a way to rent the whole studio and renovate it and make it a top-level audio and video studio.
Dude, were you with Dreamland? You were doing a bunch of things prior.
Yes, tons. It's been a lot of different large studios for me.
For listeners, explain what Dreamland is.
Dreamland opened in, I think, 1986. Joel Bluestein owns it. He's a friend of mine. He still owns it. And they did a bunch of big records early on. B-52s, Love Shack was done there, among other things. And then he closed it in 2000 because of exactly what you said. Everyone had a home recording setup. So it sat closed from 2000 until 2008, until just on a very Bashert coincidental kismet situation. I was with my friend Jerry Murata, a well-known drummer who was looking for a studio. And he had worked with Joel from 86 to 2000, really building up Dreamland. So it was 2008, and he asked Joel if he could go look at the cottage at the front of the studio to potentially put his studio there. We went to see it, and it's like small. I didn't think a very good spot for a studio, but the caretaker was there. And we said to him, like, what's going on in the big studio? And he said, nothing.
Look, there's a theme here. I'm in a small room with a glass, and I want the whole thing. I'm in a little cottage. I want the whole thing. There you go, brother.
We want it all.
Tiny desk? No.
So you
Give Pete
partnered
a little
with Joel.
room. He wants the whole thing.
Yeah, I partnered with Joel and Jerry in 2008. Joel thought we were crazy. We reopened Dreamland, but very low key. Like we weren't, nothing was, there was a very fancy recording console that hadn't been on for 5 years.
I remember that old thing.
Yeah, Joel said, don't turn it on. It smoked last time we turned it on.
What were the first things that you recorded there?
So we were doing like our friends and little records, bands you probably haven't heard of for a few months, but pretty quickly word got out that Dreamland was reopened. We fixed things, and then a bunch of big records happened there. Helplessness Blues by Fleet Foxes happened there. Beach House did a record there. It just started to like snowball.
You know, I'm just remembering this. Like, we actually, I think, met at Dreamland.
You had the restaurant out on 28.
Right, we'd met, but that was the first time we hung out. Was it because you weren't?
I knew who you were because
Yeah.
you were the chef at this really amazing restaurant.
thank you.
Chef owner.
Chef owner. Josh opened a restaurant.
Owner
You're
Josh Croner.
you're like one of the only people who could open a restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and it was packed.
Yeah.
It was good timing. That was something where nothing was like that in this area, except for actually right in this compound, the Bear Cafe.
It was the best.
That was the
after
only
party
other
around.
place that was doing comparable kind of food, but there wasn't a lot of choices. Like now, there's so many different choices.
Right, you got two of the only really great restaurants within half an hour drive.
Yeah, I just moved up from Manhattan.
Nice.
Yeah. That's also over by that Dreamland area. See, there's a lot going on over there.
There's a lot, Dave.
yeah.
That was
Someone I
also
know
what-
lives there.
West Hurley.
West Hurley
yeah.
represent.
It's Woodstock.
Without the taxes.
The biggest little town in the world.
But
Yeah,
I'm-
West Hurley's still within the tofu curtain,
I know, yeah.
the protected area of
Yeah.
the Woodstock region.
No, I
Yeah, but you
definitely-
also have the pickups with the ferret flags. Just get some
You got to
interesting
really,
mix.
this is no joke. We live in the sticks, but
Yeah.
there is a strong artistic community that can give you the feeling that you don't.
Wait, there's art here?
Art music. That makes me wonder, Pete, how did you find your way to the Hudson Valley?
I went to Bard College.
There you go.
Bard is about 20 minutes from here.
Yep.
Across the river by Josh's Restaurant in Tivoli, right near Tivoli. And
Where'd you grow
5
up?
minutes from my store in Red Hook, New York.
Awesome.
Right on there. Well, yo, so where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Westchester County. I was born
Okay.
in New York City. My folks moved there because the Upper West Side was very dangerous in 1972.
That's so funny. I moved away from the Upper West Side in right around 1972.
Oh, wow. Where
I
on
was
the Upper
on
West Side were you?
111th Street.
Amazing. Yeah, we were on 88th and Central Park West. Rough was a very dangerous area.
Yeah, it was.
And what part of Westchester did you
And then
move to?
my parents moved to Larchmont. Ever heard of
Oh,
Larchmont?
yes.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm a Larchmont
Yes.
boy.
Large
Yes.
one. There
No
you go.
way.
Yeah, go, Jacob.
Wow. Class of 89 over here.
Class 93.
All right. I probably knew you.
There's that 4 years.
Just like forever when you're like 10.
I was a freshman dude.
Yeah, forget you. Yeah, I went to Bard. I loved the area when I was at Bard. One of my very good friends, his family was from Woodstock. Benson Sebastian, who I was in a band with, called Arms. And his father is the renowned musician John Sebastian, who was in the Love and Spoonful. So I got to spend a lot of time with the Sebastians when I was like in my early 20s and in Woodstock. And it probably gave me like a false sense of how it was awesome. It was a little extra awesome. It was a little extra awesome because
not a
he was
false
like,
sense.
yeah, he was like,
Is
he
John
was a legend.
Sebastian still up in the area?
John's still up in the
Yeah.
area. Yes, he lives in the region and he still plays.
He used to be
He's still incredible.
He was a big customer over at my old restaurant. I used to see him all the time. But once I moved over, he doesn't apparently cross the river. Well.
yeah, crossing the river is a big deal for Woodstock.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know.
going to Brooklyn if you live in Manhattan.
Right.
As a musician, did you go to bar to smoke pot and play frisbee, or did you go for music? When did you start playing music? And talk a little about
It's
your
one or the other.
drumming. Oh, okay.
No, I went there to do music. I really had a hard time in high school because we were doing music.
You wanted to follow Donald Fagen's path.
Yeah, Donald was
No,
my
he-
hero.
he
No,
wa-
he is now though, but I didn't even know who he was.
He
honestly.
wanted to follow Chevy Chase's path.
or Beastie Boys.
Did,
More likely
did the
that.
Beastie Boys go to Bard?
I think a couple of them did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
But I was doing music performance. That was my degree, and I'm a professional drummer. I still am. And I just studied music and played drums like all day. Like my friends used to make fun of me because I'd be in my practice room like 6 hours a day. But it was great. Bard was very good for me. And then I moved here in 1993 when I graduated, and I've been here since.
So you're still drumming,
Yep, I am.
but you're doing all this.
We're actually sitting right next to a drum kit.
Right?
Yeah, those are my drums. I run Utopia Studios, Bearsville. I also have a company called Flymax Sound, and we have sound systems, and we travel around the world and build studios and do sound for festivals and do live records.
And are you like, hey, I'll do this, and if you need a drummer,
You know, yeah, that's exactly what happens. I have always played professionally, but I haven't focused on it in the same way. I still practice, I still do gigs. But since I opened Utopia, I've played on a number of records just because I'm here and I can play. And it's easy. Played on Alexa Ray Joel's new record that's coming out, Billy Joel's daughter. Played on James Felice's record that's currently out, that he's in the Felice Brothers, and a number of other artists that I've just gotten on the records.
Nice,
It's great.
how did you, here, use the radio term, segue into producing or starting off?
I was really lucky. A lot of people go to school for sound production engineering, and they really spend a lot of money on it, and they may not get anywhere with it.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting? No.
Something like that. There's a lot of them, and they're as expensive as like a private Ivy.
You just
They're
spent
expensive.
that money on that board.
Yeah,
instead.
exactly. I just bought some nice gear and said, come on over. No, I just got lucky. I was in my late 20s, and I hung out with Jerry Murata, the same guy. I went to his studio, and I used to just hang out there as an intern. And I realized I had a good ability. Yeah, I could hear, and I could sound engineer. So I learned a few things. I learned the software, and I was just spending time there as much as I could. I just got married, kids. It was a great way to get out of the house. So I learned the ropes, and I was doing my own sessions there. And then within 2 years, the main engineer decided to quit, like on a whim. And there was a big record coming in, and Jerry asked me if I would engineer the record. And it was Sarah McLachlan. And I said, of course, are you sure? And he's, don't worry, you'll be fine. You won't screw it up. So I did it, and fortunately, it did really well. It sold 2 million records.
Yeah.
So I got.
Sounds like you did not screw it up.
I didn't.
Dude,
I was
that
so
is
lucky.
Great stuff.
There is something about luck. Like one of these quotes from Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, which I always quote this. I love this. He says that golf is 100% luck. But the more you practice, the luckier you get.
Nice.
I'm curious, you went through this whole like pre-digital stage or pre-computer, or was it always a part of things? Like
I came in right when digital started, and it gave me a big advantage because I took and this is funny, but I took a 4-day class in New York City, and I learned the software, but I learned it so well.
what was the software? Avid? No,
It's still the same software. It's called Pro Tools.
Oh, yeah,
by
okay.
Avid is the company. So it gave me an advantage, even though as an engineer, I wasn't as good as the other people, but I knew how to run the software, which made a big difference.
You're like my daughters with iPhones. Like, oh, you guys help with all the techie stuff. You were the young techie guy.
Exactly. So, but we did use tape, and I still use tape sometimes. That's the old school way of recording. Is
I used to take
analog
razor
tape.
blades and
Exactly.
but then my day back in the studio we had the razor blades and then the tapes. You know,
And we were
so-
messing up the tapes with what was on the razor
So
blades.
I'm actually curious about this.
Yeah.
So the difference between digital and analog,
Yeah.
like I've started listening again to a lot of vinyl.
Yeah.
And I realized there's just such a earthy quality to listening to vinyl that just doesn't exist when you're dealing with digital music. Is
Like
that
the
the same thing with the
compression of
tape
sound.
versus just recording?
Yeah. It's better.
So there's some sort of
It's better in certain ways. If you want, I'll get techie for 2 seconds.
yeah. You go get techie, you tear that shit up.
So the human ear can hear a frequency range, and it's based on waves per second. 20 hertz, 20 waves per second is the low end of human hearing. So when you're like the sub in your truck, when like rap comes on or reggae, those frequencies are between like 20 and 80. That's the lowest humans can hear.
Okay.
And then the highest humans can hear is 20,000. And that gets into a range where like you probably can't even hear it if you're over 40, but that's the top range of human hearing.
So AC/DC was 30,000.
Exactly. So that's the frequency range. Like ultra high frequencies are 20,000. That's the maximum humans theoretically can hear, and the lowest is 20 hertz. And vinyl, as well as magnetic tape, record up to 10 times the frequency range of digital.
Wow.
So it'll go up to 200 kilohertz versus 20 kilohertz. That being said, you can't really hear it, but people theorize, and I believe it.
The better the
affects-
pot is, the more you can actually.
Yeah. It affects the frequencies below it. And vinyl's reproducing higher frequencies than you can hear. So most sound people really do understand that the content up there, even though you can't hear it, only your dog can, somehow we feel
Yeah,
it.
but that's just it. Like you can't hear it, but sound waves still hit your body. Like they still
Right, like you
John
said,
nailed it.
feel it, not hear it. You can
Like you
feel
said, it
right?
feels earthier,
Right.
warmer, or realer, or whatever. And then that being said, recording to magnetic tape has disadvantages. There's hiss, there's background noise,
There's stuff on the.
there's drugs on the razor blade, or there used to be.
There used to be back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And the day would be yesterday.
And now a short break. Terrapin Restaurant. From far-flung origins, the world's most diverse flavors meet and mingle here, in the heart of the Hudson Valley, at your table. From elements both historic and eclectic comes something surprising, fresh, and dynamic. Dishes to delight both the body and the soul. Terrapin Restaurant. Open for lunch and dinner and late night until 1 a.m. Montgomery Street, Rhinebeck. And online at terrapinrestaurant.com. Do you prefer drums or producing? Or do you have I don't know, I see you as like this kind of Renaissance man who loves everything.
I just love it all. I used to feel like I was a drummer who was engineering, and I felt frustrated. And then I was like, just decided to just do what I really love to do. And then it became more about the drumming, and I realized I love engineering. And then I realized you could do both.
Yeah.
And then I also came to the understanding that there are thousands of people who are really good at both. If you talk to most producers, they play an instrument. engineers. They can play an instrument. So it took me a minute. I don't know why I didn't figure that out sooner, but yeah, I love it all. I really do.
But I think having rhythm in general is probably a very important part of being a sound engineer. Like that, you can hear rhythm, you can hear what's going on. There's nobody in a band that has better rhythm than the drummer.
Amen.
Yeah. Hey, okay, I have something I want to get into because you have had such a career with many famous people, singers, all kinds of crazy shit you've probably seen. And this is an excellent place to air that crazy shit. I mean, you want to hear something that happened that you probably don't want to say on the air because there's nobody listening to this. Actually, hopefully millions of people.
I mean, I'll talk about the music business in general, which is there's a huge discrepancy in terms of the pay between the people in it. And it's a lot like sports. So, there's how many professional football players? 32 teams, there's 1,500 professional football players. In college, there's 15,000. So, and then there's coaches and there's people who coach high school. So in the music business, it's similar. There's a small amount of people that make a tremendous amount of money. And then there's a lot of people who do pretty well. And then there's people who slug it out. And then there's people who are like incredible and they just don't make a lot of money. And it's not a reflection on anything about them musically. It's partially luck. It's partially how good they are at business. It's
also the system, like the musical system itself which has been broken for
decades. The ecosystem. For thousands of years, if you were a musician, you were like a minstrel. You went from town to town and you played parties and you got to hang out with all the cool people and get the good food and drink. Yeah. And you dressed nice and it was a thing and it was cool. So most of the most successful people I work with are extremely obsessed about the art. Like to the point where it's annoying. Like they just want to keep going and make it better and make it better and make it better. And then you say it's done and then they come back and they say, actually, it's not done. And it's challenging. There's a lot of like shady business that goes on. There's a lot of people who want to be around the business. They want to be involved, but they don't play, they don't produce. So they figure out a way to get in. Or they go to music business school, and God bless them, a lot of them are amazing and they create careers for artists. But a lot of them are just trying to make the money off the artist. Yeah. So I guess the thing you see a lot and you have to be careful of in the business is just knowing like who you're dealing with.
The hangers on.
Are those the agents or people that call themselves
Sometimes
agents?
there's agents that are incredible. Like an agent will get you gigs and they believe in the artist they're working with and they crush it. And then there's agents who are just so gross.
That's part of. So did you watch Get Back, the Peter Jackson?
I watched part of it, yeah.
So throughout the whole first half of that, when they're at Twickenham Studios, there's 50 to 75 dudes with suits who are just hanging around the Beatles. And these guys are just constantly like whispering to each other and looking at them and smiling. And like you can see them like coming in their pants because they're like, we're going to make so much money.
You're so cute.
A&R guys that shows.
I would make money off you.
It's gross.
Yeah, I once saw George Clinton from P-Funk Funkadelic, from the funk master.
Yeah, man.
And he had written a book and he got up on stage at the Bearsville Theater, which is right across the driveway from us.
Or under the tunnel.
We have a tunnel. We have a tunnel that connects Bearsville Theater to the studio. I crawled through it. It's terrible.
I know.
Did you crawl through it?
I had to help run wires.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
How far in did you go?
I went deep. I was on.
You went in the tunnel?
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, we're like
We're Eskimo brothers.
There's a tunnel 4 feet diameter that goes about 100 meters underground, and there's spiders. It's disgusting. Yeah. But we pulled a 56-channel analog snake through the tunnel so we can record shows from the theater. But anyway, George Clinton got up and he was doing a book talk because he had a book that came out. And he said, he was talking about the music business, and he said, for all you young people out there, just remember, when you were learning how to play your instrument, you went to school to learn how to play your instrument, there were also these other people that were going to business school learning how to take the money that you were going to make from playing your instrument. Yeah, man. So just know that and remember to people. Now I'd say people are learning how to get their money and doing a little bit better.
I'm intrigued, and it's not in the same, it could be an interesting segue here. There's artistic integrity. And you want to either have it or bring it to the bands or whatever else. And then there's running a business. You have had some sick bands in place. Are you out there getting them? Are they coming to you? Are you out marketing, promoting? And how many hats are you wearing?
I mean, it's incoming and outgoing. So we run advertisements and we also do social media campaigns. And then most of it's relationships. Yeah. So we just had the Lumineers in. The new Lumineers record was recorded and mixed here. Nice. That was through two friends of mine who I've worked with for 20 years. They want to come here because it's a great studio and it's my studio. And the band wanted to come here because they did rehearsals here like 3 years ago. So it's a little bit of both, but I'm running a business. We do everything. We have big bands coming in. We do video shoots. We have local artists that fill in the dates when it's not filled. It's a commercial recording studio. It's a lot like a hotel. Like you want the rooms full.
Right. But you want the right people.
You really do. Ideally,
I like that.
you know,
Hey, can we get in here for an hour?
It's like the hockey rink. It's Sunday at
what's
midnight.
going on? Yeah, it's like Sunday at midnight.
So there's some awesome podcasts that happen here as well. You know,
Oh, yes.
Right, it's now a podcast studio.
our new home.
It's
It's a
bona fide.
podcast studio.
Pete, I got to ask you. I've never played in a band or anything, but the one instrument I did play for a while was drums. Your top 3 favorite drummers of all time.
Oh, sure. That's easy.
Yeah?
Stuart Copeland,
Nice.
Phil Collins,
Same.
Steve Gadd.
Steve Gadd.
He was, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Paul Simon's drummer for years.
Oh,
All the
nice.
like classic Paul Simon stuff,
Yeah.
solo stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
Incredible.
nice. I never knew.
How
his
about
name.
you? Top 3 drummers.
Yes, Phil Collins is on there.
All right.
The order changes a lot, and Keith Moon,
Okay.
and then Neil Peart.
I like it. Dave, top 3 drummers. Josh, you feel it coming? You thinking?
I'm thinking you've got to be in the top 3.
Right, there you go.
I love you too, bro.
Pete's in my top 3.
Dude, I was an air guitarist for a while, and then like 4 on the Floor, something came out. All of a sudden, I became an air drummer, even back at AC/DC. But I'm an air guitarist, and as far as drummers and musicians, it's funny. I like Working Man, but it wasn't Neil Peart. It was the first album with Rush. It had some killer drums on it, but it was the other dude.
Oh wait,
I didn't even know that Rush had a drummer before Neil.
Yeah. Neither
the
did
first
I.
The first album, and it was sick because it was Working Man. It was like all serious drums and guitar, and I was like, and then all of a sudden Neil, who's a genius with 2112, 4th row, Madison Square Garden, 2112.
2112.
They did the intro, and boom, went flying back.
Okay, I
Nice,
got
man.
one. John Bonham.
Oh,
He might be on my list too. I might have to replace Steve Gadd.
I love John Bonham, but the thing. So, did you ever see the performance that the Who did for the Flying Circus?
We're all like, no.
There's this moment where Keith Moon is like just fucking wailing on the drums, and you look at the recording and you're like, is it raining in the studio? And you realize he's just sweating so fucking much on his drum set. And so the sweat is going up in the air and just coming back down, which is fucking gross, but also kind of metal.
Really good. He's hanging out in Woodstock apparently, and the whole fire department would end up at the house where he was staying partying. Keith liked to party.
Keith liked to party. Really?
Did he?
Oh, he was. He's a renowned, serious.
I think
serious
that's
drinker.
got to be rumors.
And now a word from our sponsors. Looking to stay warm and cut down on energy bills? Call Hudson Valley Green Insulation. We specialize in open and closed cell spray foam insulation for homes and businesses across the greater Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley Green Insulation. Seal in comfort, save with confidence. Call or text 845-242-0021 or email us at hvgi.optonline.net.
But you have a drum kit here. Maybe you could try to imitate your favorite drummer. Do a little Stuart Copeland, or do a Phil Collins. So Phil Collins, is it early Genesis? Or
No, it's not. It's the solo stuff.
Side two
you're-
with face value.
Yeah, face value,
wait,
exactly.
okay.
No jacket required.
Right.
Oh, I'm talking.
Shocking. Yeah, you probably like the stuff everyone else likes.
I like
Genesis.
Yeah, I like the art school stuff before he was like, I'm going to get out of the drums.
Yeah, I liked him when he was out front and Chester Thompson was there with him. But I think he played drums on the records.
Yeah.
I'd play for you, Josh, but maybe that'll be the next podcast.
Yeah, next podcast. Right. Coax you. We don't
Mic
have
up
any
the
mics
drums.
set up.
We're actually giving a class July 26th, me and Rich Pagano on classic drum recording here. It's going to be limited to 15 students, and we're going to do the recording techniques for Led Zeppelin and the Beatles.
Oh.
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a full day.
Do you do a lot of like classes and workshops here?
No, it's going to be our first one, but Rich is my friend. He's a drummer, and he's an expert on classic drum recording. So he's going to show, and he worked with the engineers who recorded those records, and he's going to show all the techniques and bring in drums tuned like
Holy
that.
shit,
And I'm
dude.
going to be the drum. I'm going to play. I'm going to be John
Okay,
Bonham
Pete. So
for the
let's
day.
say I'm hearing this podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I'd like to do that. How would I find out about this?
UtopiaBearsville.com.
All right.
UtopiaBearsville.com.
Nice.
Echo.
Thanks for saying that, Josh.
Raceway Park.
.com.
That's nice. Nice.
But yeah, the educational thing's important. I think studios have learned that too. A lot of studios are doing that. You kind of want to show people
I
what
would
you're doing.
love to learn an instrument. Only instrument I have played was Guitar Hero. I was pretty good
How'd
at that
that
for a
go?
while. That was good. Yeah.
You didn't grow up and you didn't have to play something when you were a
killed
kid?
No. No, actually, I did play the drums when I was in like 3rd grade.
Nice.
Like snare drum for.
Yeah, it was like a drum pad, and then I graduated to a snare drum.
Where were you? Where did you live?
This was in New Jersey.
What city? What town? Or whatever?
Mountain Lakes, New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna talk later. I have a friend from there.
Oh, really?
A good friend. Yeah.
Who is that?
Zach Weinberg.
Oh, I love Zach.
Stop it.
Love him.
No, you're kidding.
He lives in Vermont.
You really the same Zach Weinberg? Should we call him right now?
Oh, he's an artist.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends from college.
Wait, did you guys go to school together?
Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
That's crazy. Zach, yeah. Zach's my buddy.
Very artistic guy. You could always tell.
Were you cooking? Were you already into that then?
No, not at all.
How did that happen?
My mother was an amazing cook. My grandfather was an Italian chef who had a restaurant. My uncle, he had a restaurant. I ended up working in that restaurant. I went to engineering school because I didn't want to be a chef because I was like, I can't do it. But it was calling. And after I became an engineer, I'm like, fuck it.
This is my destiny.
Yeah,
I'm
I got to
going.
do it. So I
Every
went to
time I
culinary
try
school.
and get out, they pull me back in.
And you actually had said something earlier which really resonated with me when you're talking about what you do and you're talking about drumming and engineering. You're like, I just do what I want to do, what I love doing. And that's really the key to life, I think.
I think so.
That if you have a job that is, you got to go to work, you're like, oh, I'm going to work, it's hard to be happy because so much of your time is going to work.
A lot of us, I don't think we've worked yet, have we?
No, but obviously, when you talk about being a chef is grueling, like in terms of hours. But if you love what you do, then it's nothing. Like I opened a restaurant and I worked 100 hours a week, and people are like, "Oh my God, you don't have any free time." I'm like, I love it. This is amazing.
I don't really ever look at the clock when I'm working, which is like crazy because I used to always be looking at the
Honey,
clock.
come home.
Yeah, there's that. But yeah, you got to love it. It's a grind sometimes. I run a business with multiple things going on. So there's certain days I'm just like, God, I just want to go to the studio and play drums. But I have to do phone calls and deal with my bookkeeper. There's the grind side of it. But you got to embrace the grind because you're paying the price for being able to do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
got a
say.
question for you. Okay, having a studio, a lot like theater, there's a lot of technical shit going on.
Oh.
What is worst technical issue that happened?
The worst thing you could do, and I've done it, is you erase somebody's record.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could do. And I did it. I'll just say I spoke to him about it recently. Graham Parker. Famous artist.
Yeah, dude.
I went to do a session at another studio. I was like 33 and we were recording all day. And then I went to back it up and I accidentally backed up the old stuff over the new stuff. And he came in, he's like, so yeah, where's the track? I'm like, and I realized what I did. And I was like, I erased it. He was like, I was like, no, bro. I erased it. He had a cow. It was really bad. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Fuck,
It's happened
man.
a couple times.
Yeah,
Only like twice.
And
so.
that's with that was with tape that happened.
No, that was digital. And it's something you could do with any computer system, which is if you take the file and you copy it to the backup drive, it says replace, and you're like, yeah. Guess what? If you copy the backup onto the current one and it says replace, you're replacing it with the old version. So it was terrible, yeah. But it certainly has happened on tape as well.
We are
Save as.
recording
Save as,
this podcast on a little,
Tiny chip.
and I'm always
Oh,
like,
wait, I didn't hit record.
yeah, exactly. When I
left
put
the
it into
lens
my
cap
computer
on.
to download it, I'm always like, come on, man, be there. I have this fear that we'll have this amazing podcast, and I'm like, oh, guys, you know that Pete Caigan podcast?
Time to be brilliant. Time to be brilliant again.
We're gonna
Come
have to
back
call
in.
Pete. We got to do it again.
Dude, that is rough.
Yeah, that was the worst thing.
You talked to him recently about it?
Yeah, I said, he's, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
It was like 25 years
Rock
ago.
stars.
Yeah,
That's
he's like, I don't remember.
Too
So I
much,
was like,
too much.
fuck.
That's like
I've been carrying this around, man.
That's like me
it was
making
like-
amends. I was like, oh, I don't remember. Oh, I don't thank God.
Well, that happens too. Like if your friends, any of your friends go
You
through a
thought-
12 step, they come up and they're like, I'm so sorry about that night. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
You had this image in your mind that Graham had your picture on the wall and he would throw darts at it. But his guy, I don't even remember any of it. Today's podcast is brought to you by
Mega Brain Comics, located in the Hudson Valley's Red Hook, New York, is the only black-owned comic book store in New York State. They cater to local and online customers with a deep focus on historically underrepresented folks in the LGBTQIA and BIPOC communities, as well as girls and women, people with disabilities, and the uniquely neurodivergent. Comic shops are an endangered species, and Mega Brain would appreciate any purchase you can make on their website, but also strongly encourage you to seek out and visit the closest comic book shop to your home and show them some support too. find them at megabraincomics.com and also on Instagram at megabraincomics and on Blue Sky at megabrain.bsky.social. So, dude, you played drums as a kid all the time, right? Like so you said.
Yeah, I was playing all the time, and we were cutting school and going home and playing music.
Okay, and now you run the business, drum, and everything else.
Yeah.
And what are you doing now outside of all the studio and social? Are you?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, are you hiking?
I'm kidding. I do other stuff. I'm part of the Woodstock Fire Department.
Oh, yeah.
So
Nice.
I became an EMT in 2019 and did that through the pandemic until 2024. And I recently just joined the fireside. So last night I went to my first training, learning how to be a firefighter.
Oh, wow,
or
man.
something like that, at least involved. You should do it. You'd like it.
After my accident, I'm like, I want to give back to all the EMTs and everything else. Like, how do I give back?
That's great. I think everybody should at least learn basic medical training. So emergency medical training, it's not that hard. You can take some classes. So I do that. I really enjoy it. It's a great way to be out in the community. Plus, I still have friends. We go and do shit.
So you're actually the second person that we've interviewed from the Woodstock Fire Department, Paul Schiavo.
Oh, I think he's not with the Woodstock Fire Department. He's with a different fire department. But anyway, yeah.
Olive or down that
I
way.
thought he
Paul's a first responder, yeah.
Oh, right. He's maybe
Phoenicia.
with Phoenicia, right?
There's a million fire departments, and it's the backbone of our country.
Thank
really.
God
So-
there's a million
I-
fire
Yeah,
departments.
we need it. Go
I
there. It's fun.
actually
It's so
have
fun.
I have an interesting story about the Woodstock Fire
Oh,
Department.
I can't wait.
Is Keith Moon involved?
No, it's oh shit, what's his name? Michael Denson. He was the chief for years. He was a stoner, lived next to us on 111th Street, and my mom used to take care of his pot plant for him, and
The Woodstock Fire Chief?
yeah.
Wow.
But this was in the 60s and the early 70s.
Well, there used to be a keg at the firehouse.
There used to be a keg at
The
my radio
culture was a
station.
little different back in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm sure. But he has a big painting of Lake Placid at Terrapin.
Really? Fascinating.
But he's was a great painter.
But yeah, so I keep busy. I have fun. I do stuff. I hang out with my friends. I hike. I run in the woods. I have big dogs. I have kids. I have family.
Apparently,
Well,
you also
if you-
harvest ramps.
And I went to get ramps today. I walked 4 freaking hours up 2 mountains, and I got some ramps, like a bag of ramps. So I text Josh, who's a chef. I'm like, Josh, I get some ramps. I just bought 15 pounds.
I just bought 50
50 pounds. I see.
50
Shit.
pounds.
Jesus.
And I just had to walk to the back of the restaurant.
Yeah, I used to forage them, but now, and I was telling you this because I like to have ramps on my menu for a whole season, and obviously they're only around for maybe 3 weeks. So what I do is I just buy as many as I can get and then grill them off. I was telling you, so I'll just lightly oil them, grill all 50 pounds of them,
Yes.
and then put them into Ziploc bags and freeze them. So then I just pull the Ziploc bags
nice.
out, and I've got ramps as long as I need them.
And for anyone who doesn't know what ramps are, it's like a garlicky green that grows around streams
Thank you very much.
for a few hours.
So I can't.
A
hack that.
little
here.
context for our
Did you know?
listeners.
No, I hear about everyone
Wait,
talking. And
oh,
I'm like,
really?
I don't want to be the idiot.
No, ramps are amazing.
What's his name?
And then you taste them, they're like, oh my God, ramps.
Rhinebeck Bagels. Jeremy every year he does his ramp. He goes foraging for them and makes his ramp cream cheese.
We got to have Jeremy on the
Hells yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
I like Jeremy.
But Pete, you obviously have trekked a lot around.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your favorite place in the Hudson Valley?
My favorite place in the Hudson
And
Valley.
it can't be your Utopia Studio.
No, that's a good question. I really like Kingston Beach.
Oh,
Like on the Hudson River
Yeah.
under the bridge. I just think that's
Yeah.
like a magical space. And a lot of
is.
weird things have happened there when I'm there.
oh.
Bird related. Don't ask.
Weird bird
Weird
related
bird
things.
related-
Bird-related
Just like-
shit under the
Yeah,
bridge.
you know how it goes. I have Magic Meadow in Woodstock. I won't tell you where that is, but if you know, you know.
Oh, I know. I've been to Magic
Oh,
Meadow.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Everyone's-
That's what I thought ramps were, but no, it's a different kind of mushroom. Those are mushrooms. So sorry.
Yeah, right. Magic Meadows where, well, I'm not telling anybody who doesn't already know. You have to find out. You got to come here and bug the locals. And then there's this place, I'll call it Secret Falls. And it's off of West Saugerties Road. I think most of you know what it is, but we try not to tell the outsiders. But we have like incredible. You'll find it.
Is
We
that
have
in Platte Clove?
Yeah, it's Black Clove.
Yeah.
So we have incredible. You'll find it. You'll find it anyway. We have some incredible waterfalls in this area, up to 100 feet tall, and it's great swimming holes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I jumped in early.
It's one
on.
of my favorites.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Nice.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite event?
A favorite event,
Yeah.
like an annual event?
Yeah, or anything. It's something in Hudson Valley because there's a lot of different things go on.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
What's your favorite drummer?
Go on. Favorite event that happens I got it. Woodstock fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
we're a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
unusual in Woodstock.
volunteer
in case
day?
you didn't know. Yes,
The Sam did, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we do the fireworks on the anniversary of the Woodstock Festival. So our little town gathers on, it's usually like third weekend in August, and everyone gets together. It's called Volunteers Day.
Yep.
So
That's
we
at
have
the Como property?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have music and food for the local volunteers, both EMS, fire, community center, anyone who volunteers, and then the whole town gets together. We have a really good fireworks show.
It is really
And then
good.
Sundays when I play softball, I'm picking up all the next day.
Yeah, we've had a
pretty
couple
cool.
mishaps,
Yeah.
a couple low explosions.
All right, so our final canned question of the evening
Yeah.
is, what is your favorite thing about the Hudson Valley?
For me, it's nature. I love being able to just duck out and be far away from everything, get into the mountains, and literally
That's a great answer. That's probably my answer, too.
But what about nurture?
nurture. Fuck that.
Nature.
Fuck nurture.
Nah, of course, but yeah, nature. Same with you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what brought me here. I was in the city, and I was just tired of the urine smell.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, it was, I lived at the time, I was living in the East Village, and it was not a good place.
What years was it?
Early 90s to 97 is when I moved out.
Yeah, I was there a lot then. It did smell like piss.
It did. And
Hey,
there were,
guess what?
yeah, it was a lot of,
still smells like this.
Dude, no, it's like Disneyland. You're down. I was down the East Village, and it's not like it was. It usually.
No,
I
it
mean,
is
it
a
doesn't.
lie.
It's not as robust as it used
It's like
to be.
kombucha piss now.
Oh, so true. So true.
God.
I just want to say thanks, Pete. What an honor.
Hey, pleasure. It's fun
Having
chatting with
as
you
a
guys.
member of the Hudson Valley, a friend, and just Woodstock resident. All these great things you're doing. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thanks for having me on your podcast. Pleasure to hang with you, gentlemen. You're a lot of fun.
And this
Yeah,
was
man.
such an honor to be able to record our podcast here in Utopia.
I'm super psyched.
A legendary studio.
Wow, he did it at a studio. I'm so
I
happy
love
to have
what
you
you've
guys.
done
Really.
here. I'm getting not like nostalgic being back in here and seeing what you've done. It's sick.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and spending time with us on Hudson Valley Unleashed. And thanks to our producer, Jacob Hutchings. Look for a new podcast every Tuesday, and all of our shows are available on Apple Music, iHeart, and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky, and feel free to email us at info@hudsonvalleyunleashed.com with any comments, questions, or suggestions. For Josh Kroner, John Michelle, and Jacob Hutchings, I'm Dave Leonard saying goodbye, and until next time, stay unleashed.